Okay, so we are up to day 129 of going through my old journal. And the quote for today says, "Your past is not your potential. In any hour, you can choose to liberate the future." And it says, "What holds you prisoner from your past and how can you break free?" So I think that's a pretty important question for a lot of people. So just take a minute to think about how you would respond. And let's see what I wrote. Let's see. Yeah, this is another area where I feel like I'm pretty lucky that, like, however my brain is, I don't dwell on things. So I feel like I know what I probably said here. I said, overall, I don't think there's anything from my past holding me back. Of course, there are things I would have done differently knowing what I know now. And I was talking to my roommate about this, actually, I think yesterday. I said, I probably would have avoided certain people in my life and spent more effort in my childhood and college years being more responsible and working to build better habits and routines. But I don't think there's really anything holding me back aside, let's see. I must have been going through some relationship stuff because the last 2 days I've mentioned it. So I said, I don't think there's really anything holding me back aside from my relationship, limiting my possibilities for future relationships. But I'm okay with that for now. At some point, the right person will come along and the right person will be okay with whatever baggage I have coming out of this. So I guess I was kind of worried that, you know, any trauma from my relationship would be carried on because there's a lot of guys that are like, oh, she's got so much baggage and she can't trust me. And, you know, like, girls will date bad guys and then they'll get with the next guy and they'll maybe have some trust issues or whatever. But I don't really know why I was worried about that because I'm not really that kind of person. Like, if I'm being realistic about it, I tend to forgive people pretty easily, and I don't tend to bring things from other relationships or other people onto new people. I think because I know that every person's different. Of course, if a new person has some red flags, I think I've learned from previous relationships, you know, how to better identify, you know, certain red flags. And there's a lot of, like, I've been following a lot of stuff on TikTok, and there's a lot of people coming to the realization, and I don't know how accurate this is because, again, I'm seeing like one side of it, but it seems to be pretty accurate from what I've noticed. Is there's a lot of guys that don't want to date older women for multiple reasons, but people are bringing up the point that, like, well, maybe part of the reason they don't want to date older women is because older women have already been through, you know, all of these things with other men, and so they can't really get away with as much when they're with someone who can kind of recognize the red flags, and they would prefer to have someone that's a little bit more naive and not, you know, on to the fact that some of these things that they do could be potentially like bad things. And so, yeah, like, when I was younger and dating, like, guys would just, yeah, it was pretty easy to cheat on me because I just put too much trust in people. I was too trusting and too, I think, easy to manipulate, that I would let guys get away with a lot of things. And clearly that's carried on into my 30s, but I definitely am better at, like, putting my foot down and, you know, kind of saying what I'm okay with and what I'm not okay with. And anyway, I don't know. But I go on to say, at some point the right person will come along and the right person will be okay with whatever baggage. And I said, if not, I'll be okay alone or I'll make friends. Either way, I'm sure I'll be fine. And yeah, there was, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but there was a lady that I met while I was working at Disney, and she really kind of, like, I wouldn't say, I don't know if inspired is the right word, but I saw the way she kind of handled life and relationships, and it really like kind of made an impression on me, because it kind of showed me that there is kind of like another way to live, I guess. And what had happened with her was she had been married, and apparently her husband was not a great guy, but she had been married and had kids with him. This lady was like in her 50s, and she was like going back to school in her 50s and trying to start over a new life. Like, you know, after that was over, after her kids were out of the house, she divorced her husband. And then it sounded like she was not going to date anybody. Like she was done with dating and marriage. And I just thought it was really weird because she was married again. She had remarried. But I was like, so your husband is okay with you like moving to Florida and doing an internship at Disney? And she's like, yeah, he's back home watching the farm. Like she had like a farm. And so basically she'd met a guy that like just wanted to be with her so much and cared about her so much that he, you know, was at that time, I mean, this was like 15 years ago, you know, this was like a whole new thing for me. Like, he would let you come here, he'd let you do this, and it just seemed like such a weird relationship to me, because I guess I'd been like in codependent relationships where the guys were kind of like a little bit clingy, and like, I felt like if I was gonna go do something, they would have to be there with me. Like, the relationship wouldn't work, because if they weren't there with me, you know, like they would cheat or, you know, whatever. Like it just, they couldn't be like apart from me for 4 months, you know, while I was doing an internship. And he came and visited her a couple times, and, you know, things were good. But I was like, that kind of gave me a different perspective of like, that's what I want. I want to wait for a guy that's like, you know, we can still care for each other and have a relationship where, you know, I can still have the freedom to do like things and achieve goals that I want to do without like feeling like I can't do certain things. Of course, you know, like if you're in a relationship, you have to like give some, but I don't know what I'm getting at, but I don't know. I just like that. I'm like, okay, she was done, and so she didn't need to get remarried. If she was going to get remarried, it would be on her own terms with someone who like respected her and what she wanted in life. And yeah, I don't know. It didn't sound like he was like a pushover either. But anyway, let's go on from that. So I said, but going back to the quote, I feel like that gives me hope for the future. What was the quote? Your past is not your potential, and any hour you can choose to liberate the future. Okay. I don't really have anything holding me back. Choices I've made in the past have mostly increased my future potential. I have so many skills and resources already to shape my future. I just have to decide what I want that future to be. So yeah, like this is what I talked about with my roommate, was like, I think I said, you know, kind of like looking back, is there something that you would like change, or, you know, like, do you wish you could go back and change these things? And for me, like, I don't think so. Like, there are things that I could have done differently, but I don't feel like anything has just kind of like totally ruined my life and, you know, set me back so much in a way that I can't get past it. Like, really, there was nothing catastrophic. And even if there was catastrophic, like something catastrophic, you know, like, what can you do? Kind of like going back a couple days ago, talking about your past, and do you dwell on the past? Like, there's nothing you can do to change your past. So dwelling on it is like kind of pointless, you know? Like, if there's nothing you can do to change it, you know, there's no point to dwell on it. Like, you just have to keep going. And I also think, you know, like, you know, the life expectancy is, you know, 70, 80. So I've still got a lot of years ahead of me. And so I don't feel like, I still feel like I've got plenty of time to do whatever I need to do. So yeah, I'm pretty okay with my past right now. I don't know what the future is gonna be, but yeah, I guess I'm at a point where I feel like it could really be like anything. And I think for anyone, it could be anything. Like, it may, I know it would be hard for some people, like, to kind of start over, but I get kind of inspired sometimes when you see those memes or quotes of like saying, like, well, so and so, somebody famous, I think, I can't remember who the names are that they even bring up with it. I want to say, like, there's like some authors like Stephen King or the um, Harry Potter lady, or like I want to say Oprah. Like, they mentioned these like celebrities or these people that have become really successful, but it was like later in their life. Like, they didn't even start doing this until they were like in their 40s or 50s. And, you know, like, it's not too late. And I know it is hard for some people, like, coming from like bad situations or bad places, but I don't know. I guess you could just, if there's days ahead of you, you've just got to kind of do your best to try to do the best you can, I guess, and make your future better. And again, like I said, I think one thing that has helped me is that I don't like think too long term, and I don't dwell on the past, and I just kind of go day by day. And even like if I mess up, there was like a lot of times where I would like try to do these things and I would mess up one day, but somehow I would always be like, okay, today's a mess, today's shot, tomorrow's a new day, I'm gonna try again tomorrow. And I know that's kind of like cliche, like self-help type stuff, but I think that mindset has helped me to just like not go into like massive despair on things, because I'm just like, okay, well, this has happened, so what's next? But anyway, I guess that's all I'm gonna say for today. I'll be back tomorrow with day 130.